pursued a cause greater than yourself, so too have I.
Even in death, you could never understand him.
Someday you will come to understand the pursuit of power. Perhaps beginning with your training here.
I will support you in every way that I can. Don't be overconfident. Just do what I say and perform your duties as competently as you can. You must complete your task without fail.
Hello everyone, welcome to Humane Entertainment. I'm Humane, and I intend to entertain you. So, how's everyone doing today? Congratulations Starlight being first, and congratulations Lamprock Baka for being second. So, welcome to the, audio? Is the audio? Vice versa. What Oh! Lamprock Baka being first, and the Starlight being second, sorry. I guess that was habit for you. Alright, anyway, yeah, congratulations on that. So, welcome to the 6th entry of Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 2. So, Ninja Gaiden has this intimidating reputation. It's a very difficult franchise. Thing is, though, it's mostly the case of a lack of knowledge from the player, not a pure issue of a player's level of skill. With Ninja Gaiden for Beginners, every Monday, I intend to play through the Modern Ninja Gaiden Trilogy on the easiest difficulty, Hero Mode, and show step by step what you need to learn in order to properly understand how to play Ninja Gaiden. In today's case, it's Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I hope to break down that aura of dread that people have in starting these games. In this entry, we'll be going through chapters 15 to 17. After this, we will be done with all the story chapters of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Now, with all that being said, let's switch over to the game. Alright, now because this is a guide, first and foremost, please ask questions about the gameplay mechanics if something is not clear. I want to answer anything that I didn't make clear enough, because there's a lot of things that are just naturally ingrained into me after decades of playing these games. Thus, I may have blind spots on stuff that isn't as intuitive to new players. I hope everyone understands that. Right, now, we are going to continue on chapter 15. Yeah, this is the clear file for chapter 14, which means we are going to chapter 15. I do want to emphasize what is said in the description of this chapter. So, now, chapter 15. Quickening Devastation. Deep within Mount Fuji lies a hellish, tainted world, where the demented, infernal priest Dagradai invokes dark ceremonies and incantations to resurrect the Archfiend. Every heartbeat of the fetal overlord rumbles like an omen of death for the human race. Ryu enters the Underworld, where no human has ever set foot before. Emphasis, he does not yet realize he is in the land of the dead, home to those who have shuffled off this moral coil, but again, where no human has ever set foot before. Then why is a Muramasa statue here? Well, having emphasized that, now, the thing with these guys is they have a lot of attacks which are going to break through your guard. That said, while it breaks your guard, I don't think a lot of them actually damage you through your guard. So most of the time, just blocking should... Okay, no, so I guess some of the combo attacks might hit you after breaking your guard. I do want to remind you, though, that Ryu has, let's see, the Furious Wind technique. So, which is dashing while blocking an enemy attack to quickly dash away. When your defense has been broken, use this to avoid further damage. So, with that in mind, just notice how, yeah, that enemy broke my guard, and after it breaks your guard, you can just dash out of having guard broken. And thus you actually dodge the follow-up attack. So do note that compared to a lot of other games where if you have your guard broken, you are just completely vulnerable, with Ryu, that's not necessarily the case. If you have your guard broken, you still can dash out of it, and you even get a cool after image from it. There. Which gives you at least a chance to, if not block, at the very least dodge out of the attack. So keep that in mind. As for the best way to beat them, well, they are fast when you are close to them. However, if you are far enough, they actually meander a little bit before they actually try to get closer to you, which is good for you because the ultimate technique can just break through that. If you want like the best ultimate technique to use against them, that would be the Tonfa, because the Tonfa, even a half charge is enough to kill them. With other weapons, you only have the guarantee of a kill if it's like a full charge. But a half charge with a Tonfa is usually enough to kill them. As for why these robotic things are in the Underworld, I don't think there is an actual proper explanation for it, but I like to believe, because of how Chimera-esque they look. Oh, they look very Frankenstein, you could say. I kind of feel like any robot that has died, they technically don't really have a soul, but they just amalgamate into these guys. That's kind of how I believe to be the case. I'm not saying that is the case, but that's just how I like to logic the fact that a bunch of robots are in the Underworld. Because we are in the Underworld. Because Ryu goes to the Underworld often enough to probably be able to send postcards at this point. Also, just a reminder, we are using the True Dragon Sword now, which means that the 360 ultimate technique has now become this. Which is pretty useful, I must say. Oh. Right, what was the Black Spider Ninja again? That, let's see, Notebook, in a coma. Right, Hachijuro. Yeah, Hachijuro's notebook talked about the fiends. Let's see. Yeah, April 14th. Damn you infernal beast. These fiends lunge at anything, devouring both friend and foe alike. Stupid creatures. I cannot believe I should be destined to die this way. I cannot believe I should be destined to die this way. I'm badly injured. The pain knows no end. Actually, I think the thing I was thinking about is... Let's see. Quite different. Consciousness grows faint. Was it Hachijuro? Well, either way, there was a diary somewhere that talked about how the fiends were eating the corpses of the Black Spire Ninjas, because even though they are working with the Black Spire Ninjas, the fiends don't really care that much about their partnership that much. Well, that's clearly, that's the reason why this poor Black Spire Ninja here is nothing but skeletons at this point. Well, I say nothing but skeletons. He still has the clothes on, but yeah. Okay, are we here? Yeah, okay. So, I am going to pause right here, because we are heading towards a boss battle here. In Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black here, it is going to be a certain boss that we have already faced as Rachel. In the original Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360, we would have faced two armadillos. You know, the same kind that powered the Daedalus, the ship of the Black Spire Ninjas. Well, I have footage of me beating the armadillos. Why? Well, because besides the Windmill Shuriken, a different weapon got removed in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 as well. And I figured I'd give it a chance to shine. I'm talking about the Incendiary Shurikens. they were in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1, and they were in the Xbox 360 Ninja Gaiden 2. They removed it because they needed to have differences between Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 and the Xbox 360 Ninja Gaiden 2. The thing is, during the chapter of the Daedalus, there was an operator that kept emphasizing that you should not use explosives close to the armadillos. Kept warning the other Black Spider ninjas of that. So that is still there in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, but just like with Kureha's Shrine, the setup is there, but not the payoff. The payoff being that the incendiary shurikens do a lot of damage against armadillos. They do create explosions after all. So yeah, here's a clip of my battle against the double armadillos, essentially using nothing but the incendiary shurikens. Which, yeah, makes sense with how the operator kept talking about, do not use explosives close to the armadillo. Do not use explosives against the close to the armadillo. There you go. That's the payoff to that. I was getting a little bit careless and got hit by this rap tap with this armadillo. Still, then incendiary shuriken still exploded afterwards. All the benefit of the incendiary shuriken, they are projectile weapons, so you can't just throw them from a distance. That close to the armadillo. A lot of people actually dislike this battle because they had trouble actually fighting against two big enemies. But again, if you actually use incendiary shurikens, it's not that bad because the incendiary shurikens do so much damage and it's a projectile weapon. Yeah, just wanted to show that. I think game audio is pretty loud actually. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, I hope it isn't too bad. That's a separate audio slider, so maybe I should have lowered that. Okay, how about in this game right now? Is the audio good over here then? Yeah, better. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was a video. That was a separate audio slider, so I should have probably lowered that. Either way, I just kind of want to show the thing with the incendiary shurikens there. All right, but that said, it is. I do actually prefer the boss battle that we have here in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which is what I will show now. Sorry, didn't check before. Nah, that's fine. At least it is good now. But yeah, this is the boss battle we're gonna get instead.
There you are, Dragon Ninja.
You.
Now this is ironic. I never expected you to come to the underworld of your own free will.
Ironic? I don't care what you call it. Stay out of my way.
Such a fool. I'm not going to let a perfectly good chance for revenge slip through my fingers. Time has come to settle scores.
So, yeah, this is not the first time we fought him. We fought against him as Rachel. Either way, I'm still gonna go with the idea of, oh, first time facing off against this boss, just try to study their attacks first. That said, I actually do want to take this time to kind of talk about lore, I guess. I do find it fitting that we get to fight Marbus again, because of the three greater fiends of Ninja Gaiden Sigma, we fought Alma twice, we fought Doku, well, thrice technically, but I don't know if the first time really counts. It was a slaughter, that one. But Marbus, we only fought once in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, so I do like that they gave Marbus this rematch thing, so that Marbus actually gets to have the two fights that he is owed, I guess. Now, the other thing is, I also do find it hilarious how Ryu never actually called him Marbus, because he never learned Marbus's name. He just said you, because, well, how would he know Marbus' name if Marbus never introduced himself? So with that in mind, I do want to point out every single other greater fiend, whether it's I am Sidonius, ruler of flame, I am Alexei, one of the 4 greater fiends and master of lightning. They all introduced themselves. Marvis never did that, so as a consequence, Ryu just says, you. I don't know, I just thought it was funny. Alright. Either way, if you are having trouble with the minions, Art of Wind Blades is always an option. Nope. Either it kills them, or it doesn't kill them, and they would have lost a limb or two, probably at least one, and thus you can just obliteration technique. Use the obliteration technique against them. I'm doing terrible at dodging him right now, but still. Now, the way we fight against Marbus is as almost the same as how we fought against Marbus in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, as well as how we fought against him as Rachel. The safest method is just to run around until Marbus does that drill attack. Because if you are able to dodge that one, he will be stunned, and thus you will be able to attack him. Like, the bigger danger is really the minions. And, well, in terms of facing off against the minions without using the Ninpo, there is still the Ikaruga combo, which you can then do an obliteration technique afterwards. Nope. There. So that's still an option. Oh. Oh, going all the way over there. Alright. And, of course, Izuna Drop is also an option. Do note, however, that compared to Ninja Gaiden Sigma, I already pointed this out as Rachel, but Marbus has learned to absorb essences. So, there you go. He absorbed the essence in order to use his own ultimate technique there. If you dodge that, he will still be stunned. So, if you want, you can actually kind of force him to do a obliteration technique, or ultimate technique, so that he will do the dive attack. So, several ways you can deal with Marbus there. Marbus? You doing okay, buddy? He traveled for quite a bit there. Alright, let's finish this. Oh, I said finish this, but there we go. Benefit of Ryu's True Dragon Sword is it does a lot more damage than the Inferno Hammer of Rachel. I mean, that's kind of lore accurate there. True Dragon Sword is like the most OP sword here. Alright. Yeah, if you want to return, for some reason, I don't know, there's really much of a reason to return, because it was a dead end anyway. Let's see. Oh, hey. I guess he chased all the way over here. I guess you can't return. That's interesting. I'm almost certain that you could return to the dead end at the start in Ninja Gaiden 2, the Xbox 360 Ninja Gaiden 2, but I guess not. Okay, well, guess they blocked that off. Again, not that there was anything there to begin with. Honestly, these last few chapters are pretty linear, really. That's because, well, all the... Ooh. Come on. All the explorations and all that, that was all human world things, whereas the moment you are in the Underworld, it's mostly just fight against one boss after another, with some enemies in between. Oh, question for the chat. Is this kind of game you would play? I might as well point out there is... Oh. I did give Stream Elements one additional question for the chat. I do wonder when that's gonna come, but yeah, I did add a new question because of something that was from yesterday's stream. So we'll see if we get that question today. Yeah, the Flying Swallow is pretty powerful against these guys. They're kind of similar to Ayane's. What was again? Thing Bracer? The kick thing, which also has a lot of chance of decapitating people. Yeah, but funnily enough, the ultimate technique of the Dragon Sword is not as effective as the Tonfa against these guys. There, that was a half charge. That wasn't even a full charge, but that was enough to kill off an enemy. Whereas with the true Dragon Sword, the true Dragon Sword actually was capable of keeping them alive, you could say. The difference there is not really in damage, really, because True Dragon Sword actually does more damage. The difference lies in the fact that the Tonfa does so many hits in the ultimate technique, and each of those hits have a percentage of chance to take off a limb. The thing is, take off 2 limbs and enemies will die, no matter what. There's no way for an enemy to actually be alive after losing 2 limbs. That's outright programmed that way. So with that in mind, because the Tonfa hits so many times with so many chances of actually taking off a limb, damage barely mattered, really. It's not about damage so much as just the chance of getting rid of 2 limbs. So that's kind of the funny little thing about how the Tonfa is programmed, I guess. I just attacked the corpse, alright. Okay, I should tone it down with these drops again. You know, that's gonna be a fun thing for when I do a proper stream of the Ninja Gaiden games. As in, not these Ninja Gaiden for beginners. You'll probably see me go a little bit more all out, where I actually just do all the complicated stuff. I'm just kind of toning it down just to make it more followable for this series. Alright, so Ryu has learned to run on water because sure, why not? That is what training can bring you. Well, somehow training can also bring you to be able to run on lava, because I have no idea what kind of hellish training Ryu does to learn all these things. But there you go, he is apparently capable of doing that. My strength comes from training, not for some curse in my blood. Well, the training must be cursed then at this point. Now, there were some ghost fish there, which, yeah, some people thought that these were new ghost fish because they were red, but no, they were only red because of the lighting of the lava there. Now, the next boss battle is going to appear the moment that you are on this platform. But do note, there are more platforms over here. This is actually a fun way for you to make the next boss battle a little bit easier, in fact. Which is what I'm going to show. So, yeah. Again, Ryu's just going to run past the lava here. Alright, so let's start this boss battle. He may be a little bit familiar.
I cannot die. Here in the Underworld, our power is absolute.
Well, we'll see how absolute that's gonna be. Now, Sidonius, of course, can still fly, just like how he did in the clock tower. The thing is, Sidonius also is capable of... Oh, actually, I'm not sure if he is capable of summoning minions on hero difficulty, actually. I guess we'll see. I'll just face off against him normally, just with the same tricks that I did the first time we fought against him. Oh, there I used Steel Splitter. Nope. I used Steel Splitter to kind of sidestep his attack there. Ooh, got it. Yeah, if you want to dodge that, just dash and then use the Wind Run, because the Wind Run with the after images does give you some invincibility frames, which help you. Come on. Ah, dang, I mistimed there. But they do give you some invincibility frames in order to jump over the ring of fire there. And I guess he doesn't summon minions in hero difficulty. Oh, that's interesting. Alright, well, if you ever were to try other difficulties where he does summon minions, the funny thing is, Sidonius can fly, yes, which means he can chase after you to these other islands. The funny thing is, his minions don't. So if you are actually having trouble with his minions, if you actually are having trouble with his minions in the other difficulties, you can actually just jump over to these other islands. And then you only have to deal with Sidonius. There. I did it very quickly, but that was yet again me dashing away. Oh, there. And then using Wind Run to jump over the Ring of Fire. But yeah, otherwise, Sidonius doesn't really have any new tricks here. It's mostly just the new environment that might make this a little bit more difficult. We also have Steel Splitter now, which is a more powerful version of Ikaruga, so just use that to damage him. Well, so much for your power being absolute, Sidonius. Like always, if I'm going too fast and it seems like I did not properly explain anything, do ask the questions. I got the sign over there. Got questions? Ask them in the chat. I'm here to help. Now, remember how in Ninja Gaiden Sigma we had to find statues of the deities? Well, these greater fiends do seem to be like weird corruptions of the deities. So it's kind of the same idea, really. Like, granted, it's in a late chapter thing rather than throughout the entire game. But yeah, instead of a statue, we are getting their hearts. Heart of Malevolent Flame, a gruesome item obtained by defeating Sidonius. The heart of the greater fiend Sidonius, ruler of flame. This metallic crystalline heart, the color of a fire raging over an oil slick, once beat within the malevolent chest of the greater fiend Sidonius. It retained its original shape even as its owner's flesh turned to ash amidst purgatorial flames. The essence of Sidonius' flame, not extinguished by his death, smolders faintly within this artifact even today. Well, he says even today. It's almost as if it's been so long ago, but we just beat him, Ryu. But then again, I don't think it's Ryu that is writing these descriptions, because we do still have the description of the Gregorian Flail, which talks about Ryu in third person. Ryu Hayabusa first began using the Gregorian Flail a year ago. So, again, either this is the narrator talking, or again, we go with the idea that Ryu just likes to talk to himself in third person like this. Or describe himself in third person, you could say. Now, here's the benefit of having upgraded all of these weapons. At this point, all the essence that you can just use to buy healing items. Now, there's no need to save up essence in order to upgrade weapons because everything is upgraded now. So, yeah, start drip feeding yourself with all these grains of spiritual life or herb spiritual life or Devil's Way mushroom, Talisman of Rebirth. Like, I actually have enough money to buy another Talisman of Rebirth if I need to. So, yeah, honestly, just drip feed yourself with all the items that you need at this point. So, same case as always with these ghost fish. Equip the Vigorian Flail. Use the bow and arrow to make them go towards you. And start slashing. Alright. Oh, more. Oh. I know, I overshot there. That's actually a thing. Back in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1, the best way to deal with the ghost fish was to do X, 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 and then jump, X, then X, X, X. The reason why we did that is because the last slash was relatively slow compared to all the other ones, like that. However, they did make that slash end faster now. So it is actually a little bit safer in this game to just keep doing this now. Just keep pressing X, because he starts the first slash relatively quick after that. So if you did have a little bit of trouble keeping up this sequence that I described in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1, which is what I'm doing right now. Yeah, that's still an option here, but if that is a bit too difficult, you can just keep doing this, because the first slash of the combo does come out pretty quickly afterwards because of how the recovery frame of the last slash has been shortened now. By the way, the fact that these chests are glowy and all that, that was not the case in either Ninja Gaiden 2, the Xbox 360 version, or Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. That is something that Ninja Gaiden 2 Black added, which made them pop out a bit more. In the previous versions of Ninja Gaiden 2, this chest could be easily missed, in fact, because it just kind of blended in with the mist and all that. Still, it just gives you essence, which you will probably use to drip feed yourself with more healing items at this point. Now, for the sake of symbolism, I am going to equip the Eclipse Scythe. Now, if you have been paying attention to all the previous entry, you might have an idea of who is coming up next.
You shall kneel before the true might of the greater fiend.
He got a new scythe in the meantime. Gee, what happened to his old scythe? Oh, right. Now, the boss battle does not start immediately. You first have to beat these guys, which, funnily enough, the Eclipse Scythe is a good option against them, because the ultimate technique dealt with them pretty quickly, didn't it? So yeah, kind of a funny thing there. As for fighting against Wolf itself, I do still prefer using the Dragon Sword. Yeah, now you can actually kind of compare and contrast how Ryu uses the Eclipse Scythe and how Wolf uses the Eclipse Scythe. Still relatively the same. As for how to fight Wolf, kind of the same idea, really. That while he is relatively slow, he hits hard. And he has that attack which breaks through your guard. So keep that in mind. But, like always, all these characters do work like how you work, which means that after each attack is a little window for you to actually counter his. Reconnection successful. Let's see if everything is working again. Yes, everything's working again. Good. Okay. All right. I have no idea where I actually left off when the connection problem started. I think I will just try to... So, okay, let's hope that at the very least we still got the footage of fighting against Wolf's minions, which, as I pointed out, the Clip Scythe, funnily enough, is actually a good way to deal with them because the ultimate technique of the... I'm looking back. Okay, good. Thanks. The Clip Scythe is a good way to deal with the minions, mostly because the ultimate technique is a good way to clear through them. So that is something to keep in mind if you actually try fighting against them. If you just position correctly, the Clip Scythe actually has a good chance to just beat them in a minimal amount of ultimate techniques, really. It's not the case against Wolf, but I'm just doing that as a visual demonstration here of the ultimate technique. As for Wolf himself, Wolf is not the fastest character to fight against, which makes it always an option to just kind of learn the timing and dodge either away or, in fact, into his attacks. Because if you actually dodge into his attacks, you will stay in range to do an additional attack against him afterwards. Now, I didn't do it correctly and thus I lost health, but I did talk about drip feeding yourself with healing items, didn't I? So, there we go. You can also just count on hero mode if you want. Oh boy. Oh well, at least you get to see more of these attacks. But yeah, you can count on hero mode if you want. That said, my goal is still to try to encourage you to play on the other difficulties, just to actually learn how to play this game properly. I say that while Wolf is actually kind of beating me right now as I'm explaining everything. Alright, let's actually get a little bit serious. Like, oop. Yeah, Steel Splitter is still a very good option against bosses. Okay, again, I don't want to be in hero mode. Oop. Do keep in mind, however, Wolf It was during the fight with Wolf, although you were holding katana. Okay, then at the very least, the minions were shown. Wolf, yes. Alright. So yeah, with that in mind, just try to learn the timing of his combo. They do come out relatively slow. And if you dodge into his attacks, that will keep you in range to then attack him immediately afterwards, like this. A little window for you to actually counter his... Oh, well, there you go. Well, that's just what I explained. So, fortunately, we didn't miss anything too crucial then, which is good. Thank you for checking, Starlight. Well, that was a relatively short chapter. Well, yeah, that's kind of the case with these next few chapters. It is mostly about these rematches with the Greater Fiends and then the actual final bosses and some enemies in between, just to add variety. It's a very classic Ninja Gaiden when you really think about it, like classic NES Ninja Gaiden, that is. Now, Chapter 16, The Underworld Abyss. It is said that those who walk the frozen abyss of the Underworld are doomed, forbidden to ever again see the light of the living. In pursuit of the Archfiend, Ryu encounters a beautiful prisoner, or is it merely a phantasm created by the fiends? Evil claws reach for Sonia. She has followed Ryu here. That is quite something that she followed him all the way to hell, but that's dedication for you. To return to the world of the living, Ryu must break through the barrier between illusion and reality. Well, we got Zidonius' heart. Here's Wolf's heart. Heart of Bestial Storms, a gruesome item obtained by defeating Wolf. The heart of the Greater Fiend Wolf, ruler of storms. This metallic crystalline heart shimmers with the yellowish hue of a sandstorm. Its huge size is a testament to the power of the Greater Fiend while he still lived. The fearsome Wolf's incredible vitality still glows faintly from this object, even in its now inorganic state. Now, I did use several... Huh. It's fascinating how that was a wall there. Huh. Interesting. There you go. Ryu's training brought him to the point that he can run on air now. Because why not? Alright. So, I used some Grain Spiritual Life. I just said that we have enough money now to start drip feeding ourselves with healing items, so here we go. I mean, what else are we going to use the money for? We have fully upgraded all the weapons now. You know, anytime when stories have these fictional strange spell chants, what is in the script? Like, is it the actual words that they are saying, or did they just say, oh, just say whatever? I do like this remix of the Emperor theme, which does make sense. The Vigor Emperor and Vazda are connected. Oh. Yeah, actually, I don't think I ever mentioned this in the meantime. But the on-landing status in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, if you got hit by an uppercut attack and land on the ground, that does not count as an on-landing status because Ryu is still recovering, you could say. Whereas here, Ryu has actually learned to get an on-landing status from being hit by an uppercut, which means that you can counter an enemy afterwards by using an ultimate technique. So that is something to keep in mind. Let's see if I can make it happen purposefully. Because they do... there. I got hit by an attack, and then as I landed from being hit by the attack, I simply used that on-landing status in order to do the 360Y attack. Let's see if this happens again. I'll just keep jumping. Oh, come on. Oh, no, come on. Come on. Come on, guys, you can do it. Well, no, that... Not... Come on. They are doing the... Oh! I could have done there. But yeah, that is a way for you to kind of counter their attack by... Sure, you take the damage, but after taking the damage, you can just immediately counter with an ultimate technique. So, something you might. There, I did it again. I got hit by an uppercut. Well, not an uppercut, but I still got damaged in the air. And because I got damaged in the air, I landed on the ground. Are you okay with there, buddy? Alright. Because I landed from the damage, I was able to quickly do a on-landing charge. And from that on-landing charge, I did an ultimate technique. Yeah, the Tonfa is still usually the best choice against these guys. Actually, okay, since we are here anyway, let's see. Might as well just test out how the ultimate technique does against all these guys. Enma's Fang, not that well, all things considered, when you compare it to other things that the Enma's Fang does against. Okay, but that's against these guys. Let's see how it goes against these guys. There. I guess it's relatively effective, but compared to the Tonfa, which actually has more of a chance to go from one of those enemies to another, yeah, Tonfa is still probably the most useful. Alright, Eclipse Sight. Granted, with the Eclipse Sight, that's more so the case of attacking from a distance. But it is an option. Dragon's Claw Tiger's Fang. Dragon's Claw Tiger's Fang is relatively similar to that of the Tonfa, so that is an option as well. Oh, they're still... Oh. Sarigama. Okay, I'm not fighting against those enemies anymore, so not really much of a test there, but... Oh. Still, on its own, is able to beat these zombies.
The decor here never really suited my tastes. But no matter. With you by my side, we can create an exquisite new world. You shouldn't have been in such a dangerous place. Why, that gives me no choice but to bring you home with me.
I guess because Alexei is similar to Raptor, deity of sentiment, which is a bird. I guess he's kind of taken to Sonia or Irene, who usually goes by Sea Swallow. I don't know, that's just my idea of why he would be taken to Sonia in particular. Alright. These are the final forms of the Black Spider Ninjas. Usually if you would see a combo video against Black Spider Ninjas, people would be fighting, or of this game in particular, they would be fighting against these guys. Mostly the blue ones, in fact, because the blue ones have the most health in order to do combos against. With that in mind though, even with the amount of health that these guys have, they are still vulnerable to losing a limb from any of those attacks that have a good chance of delimbing, you could say. So obliteration techniques is still a relatively safe option against them. Oh no. Do watch out for those suicide attacks though. This is why you want to use those obliteration techniques. Because, well, they are desperate at that point, and thus they kind of realize, well, I might as well, if I'm gonna die anyway, I'm just gonna try to take him with me. Oh, hey. Well, guess we haven't fought against these Tengus in a while. Well, I say that. It's only been, what? It's only been 2 chapters. Actually, it hasn't been that long, really. It's only been that long because there's been a little gap between... Well, a gap. It's been a week of waiting between one entry to another, really. Anyway, Steel Splitter is still pretty useful against these guys. Just learn their patterns. Come on. I would recommend actually focusing on one in particular first, so that you don't have to deal with the projectiles anymore. Now, hero mode is always an option, of course. That said, I am going to try to heal every single time when I am in hero mode, just to show that you don't need to be in hero mode to beat these guys in the first place. There you go. Plus, again, we have so many essence to use now, we might as well just abuse all the healing items that we have now. The body had to realize it was dead. That's funny. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, Herb Spiritual Life. Alright. Well, I guess I have a full inventory again. Alright. Of those Black Spider Ninja wizards, magicians, mages. Well, this is the final form of that. They can be very annoying, really, because they actually have like a very strong grab attack, which does a lot of damage, and even on, yeah, on harder difficulties, it might just take away your entire health. That's not the case in hero difficulty, but that is something to watch out for. But yeah, you just noticed that grab animation there. That would have led to that grab attack. Let's see if he just does it. There. This. It doesn't do a lot of damage here, but the harder difficulty you are playing, the more and more damage that does, to the point that it can almost be an instant kill thing. So do watch out for that in particular. My recommendation is that the moment you do see him, well, Izuna Drop is a good option against him most of the time. Come on. Come on. Oh, sheesh. He's teleporting all over the place right now. Just trying to find him. Where are you? There you are. Oh, come on. There we go. Gotcha. So Izuna Drop usually would kill him immediately. Ultimate technique is also an option. And we also have like a new ultimate technique of the True Dragon Sword here, which, if that hits him, that could also work against him. Where are you? Okay. I'm messing around a little bit too much. Has he been crawling the entire time? That's funny. But yeah, outside of all those Izuna drops, this Ikaruga combo is still very useful. Alright, these bone enemies. Pretty sure I just used the Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang last time, so yeah, that's still pretty much a good option against these guys with the ultimate technique here. Another option is, in fact, the Kusarigama, which has a lot of reach. In other difficulties, these chests might contain ghostfish, so keep that in mind. Oh, hey. I didn't think that was also going to be the case in hero difficulty, but there you go. So, do be careful, sometimes ghostfish might just get out of these chests. It's funny how I keep getting a new Herb Spiritual Life after using it. So there you go. Even if you don't have the money, don't be afraid to keep using the Herb Spiritual Life. Now, the funny thing is that in this environment, like all the other fights, generally speaking, you can't really skip them, because that's kind of the point of these final chapters, where it's just a case of do this fight, go to the next area, do this fight, go to the next area. The entire last chapter is very classic Ninja Gaiden, as in NES Ninja Gaiden. That said, here you actually are a little bit in control, in fact, because if you actually identify where you're supposed to be going, like you do notice there is a dead end here. So really, you do not need to break this. You do need to break this in order to actually continue. Now, as for which way to go afterwards, well, every next one of these blood clots, you can't look past them. So if you can just identify a dead end and you just want to keep continuing, just keep breaking the ones that you feel like won't be won't lead to a dead end. With that in mind, why do we have to be careful about that? Well, sometimes, well, a lot of times, in fact, there are enemies inside these blood clots. So if you actually break it, in this case, there was nothing. Now, again, this is a dead end. This isn't, so the way to go would be this way. There are enemies here. So that is why you should be a little bit careful about which of these blood clots you're gonna destroy. If you don't want to do all the fights. Some of these blood clots, even though they are just guarding a dead end, there would still be enemies in them, which means you're gonna have to fight against those enemies. Still, if you want to actually go to the correct area, let's see, let's go from the start again. Yeah, we start over here, blood clot over there, blood clot over there, break this one, break that one, and then break this one, which happens to be nothing. And there, this blood clot would be what you would have to break in order to reach the next area. If you want all the collectibles, well, I say collectibles, it's usually just healing items at this point, go around and go through all the blood clots, because for all we know, maybe there is something there. Not the case this time. Oh, look at that. Devil's Way mushroom, if you need it. Alright. And we continue. Yeah, this is completely optional. You don't need to break this one at all. I really thought that would have been an enemy inside that, but guess not. There we go. Here's some enemies. Pretty sure you can actually just kind of skip them if you want. There. So even after releasing them, I don't think they chase after you. No, they don't. So there you go. So if you actually want to skip some fights, you can just run past them after destroying these blood clots. Oh, come on. There, I'm just kind of showing how I just I keep going forward with this. Now, the risk is you keep adding more and more enemies to this environment. So that is something that will get a little bit more dangerous the more you do this. Which means there's always still an option to just fight them one by one rather than what you are seeing me do now. I haven't used Lunar Staff in a while. That guy's been crawling all the way over here. Alright. Well, that's dealt with. Again, if you wanted to just skip all of that, you could have just kept running forward and destroy these things. Now, there is a Shadow Ninja here. Like, I want to call him Rasetsu, but it's specifically the first one that called himself Rasetsu. So, I don't know. Would be kind of weird if you actually just called every one of these the same name. As for how to beat him, well, I have already shown it all the previous times. Still, just want to emphasize, guarding per default usually kind of keeps you safe against these enemies. The only chance he really has is with the grab attack, this one. Or that attack. Oh. Alright. Oh. There. And then you can just use the obliteration technique. Okay, this is just dead end. I still just want to, well, not a complete dead end. At least there's a healing statue here, or save statue here. But where we're supposed to be going is this way. There's a big circular area here. If you want to continue, you can just jump down from here. But there are some items around this. Well, chests, I guess. They're not like the biggest missable items or anything. Just want to point out there are some items to grab here. Alright, let's jump down and face off against... Well, I do wonder which greater fiend we had some foreshadowing to.
My Sonia, what a dear little bird you are. Oh, a beautiful canary, trapped in a cage.
Excuse me, she's a sea swallow.
Yes, that's it, yes. Sing for me. Sing again and again. That maggot! The Dragon Ninja is here! You will die!
Now, it has been a while since we fought against Alexei, so I will just give you the chance to study his abilities right now. Just kind of use the timing of how I am dodging as the windows of when to dodge those attacks. Because he doesn't attack immediately. It takes some wind up first before he actually does it. But when it comes out very fast. That's true. Still, there. He doesn't immediately attack you after spinning. He spins in place for a little bit first, or he hops up in the air first for a little bit. If you want to be cool, you can just dodge the tornado attack by flying swallowing through it, which has no real advantages whatsoever, but I just think it's cool. It just looks like something you would see in an anime or something. There. I just think it looks cool. Because the Flying Swallow does have invincibility frames, which makes sense. It does have after images. There, this one. So does his attacks, just to be clear, which means that that's probably an indication that he is invincible while he is doing those moves. Now, while he is shooting those lightning balls there, if you actually Flying Swallow him while he's doing that, you might actually stun him, which means that you can just have some free hits in afterwards. Wasn't the case this time, but yeah, sometimes he will... Ah, dang, not this time. Might as well just try it, see if it actually happens properly. Come on. Come on. Alright. Oh, I actually damaged him there. I guess there's a little timing to it. Oh, no. Well, I hit him, still did not actually stun him. It's just sometimes there is a chance that it actually stuns him. Of course, the moment I actually want to show it off, it just never happens. No. Come on. You know, usually my fights against Alexei don't take that long because I would have beaten him by now. I just specifically want to show that stunned state of his, which is a little bit random, it turns out. Alright. I'm gonna try it one more time when he does that. If he hasn't been stunned yet, then I will simply just try to kill him. Come on. Oh, now he just doesn't use it. Come on, buddy. No. Okay, fine. You're dead now. In terms of most damaging combo, it usually is still Steel Splitter. At least there's been enough time to show what his abilities were. He's being very annoying today. Okay, at a quarter of health, he will activate some kind of lightning shield kind of thing. Well, it's not a shield so much as just him powering up, and now his attacks are a little bit faster. Or he does 2 strikes now with some of those attacks. Still, same tactic, really.
What a fool.
Ryu, I'm so sorry.
Sonya, stay here and don't move. Understood?
Alright, and we are heading towards the final chapter of this game. Yeah, Ninja Gaiden Sigma had 19 missions. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black only has 17. Chapter 17, Poisoned Blood. To save Sonya, Ryu fought his way through a sea of blood filled with vengeful spirits. Funny how they used the word vengeful spirit, considering that that was how Doku has been described in Ninja Gaiden Sigma. As well as Ryu himself, that was the whole thing, how that chapter was called Vengeful Spirit, and it could be referring to either Doku or Ryu. That was the whole thing I talked about. Anyway, reanimated by the evil of the Underworld. Now he confronts the Queen of the Greater Fiends in a final battle to the death. Dug or Die's evil incantations are complete. The same incantations he's been repeating all over again and again. The resurrection of the Archfiend is at hand. The Dragon Ninja walks the blade, separating life and death. Alright. Alexei's heart. I'm surprised he has one. Alright, a gruesome item obtained by defeating Alexei. The heart of the greater fiend Alexei, ruler of lightning. This metallic crystalline heart surges with the bluish hue of a powerful lightning bolt. It retained its shape even as the rest of Alexei's flesh disintegrated. A small portion of his residual electrical energy powers the nebulous glow that this artifact emits. Okay, well, it has become a weird tradition at this point, so here we go. Oh, here's an innocent. Here's a bow and arrow. So yeah, again, you can do that if you want. Alright. Right, we already read this. It is fascinating how this keeps being a thing. Right, we're gonna fight these guys again, these three-legged robot things. So we tested out Vigorian Flails, we tested out MS Fang. Tonfa is still clearly the best option. Oh yeah, obviously we also use a True Dragon Sword. Eclipse Scythe also works relatively well. Dragon Claw Irish Fang also works relatively well. Did not actually properly test it out with the Kusarigama, so let's do that right now, just to show. Works relatively well, all things considered. Alright. So Kusarigama, good option. How about Falcon Talons? Okay, it still kind of targets one enemy at a time, but at the very least, it's almost certain that you do kill that enemy. How about Lunar? Alright. How about the other one of the Lunar? Oh, okay. Okay. From this research, you could say, I guess the best ones is the 360 Lunar, the Kusarigama, because of the amount of reach it has and still having a good chance of actually killing those enemies. And I would say, if you want to keep your distance, Eclipse Scythe is also a good option, as I'm gonna show here. That said, it doesn't always kill them. It will remove a limb though, which usually is enough. But yeah, Tonfa is still pretty much the best one, because even at half charge, that's still enough to kill them. So yeah, my recommendation, use the Tonfa against those guys. Right, let's just continue drip feeding ourselves. Oh, there's this guy again. There we go. Well, there's the Izuna drop against this guy. Come on. Okay, there was one body over... I know there's a lot of bodies here, but there was one body here that you could actually interact with. That's kind of the thing that happens if you just start fighting before you actually explore the environment. There we go, yeah. Well, I guess you can kind of identify the fact that this is more like a skeleton than a fleshy body over there, so... Okay, it's still just a Devil's Way mushroom. Which, yet again, is an indication that you are allowed to simply use Ninpo. It's not like you are lacking in abilities to get more ki. You don't have to fight these guys, but if you do, well, you can't just keep using the bow and arrow against them from here. Because funnily enough, we have actually already established one of Ryu's hobbies is fishing. So, I don't know if he always fishes by using the bow and arrow, but it is one of his hobbies, it turns out. Now, this next part, the enemies, these big fish is capable of grabbing you like that. Yeah. Just want to stay in the corner there until that happened. So do watch out for that. Well, fishing with bow and arrow is interesting. Yeah, it is. There we go. Now, that said, you don't have to fight against them. You can just run on water or run on blood. Honestly, at this point, are we surprised that Ryu is running on blood? That seems to be like a metaphor for what he's doing all the time, really. Yeah, you can go through that door, but there are these items to grab. Now, the last time we faced off, well, before we entered the gates of the Underworld, which, of course, Ryu has a habit of opening. To be fair, he did not actually open this one. This was more so Genshin opening it. But yeah, before we entered this Underworld, we fought with Genshin. But that was not the last we saw of Genshin, was it? Well...
Genshin, go back to hell.
I find that line hilarious because, Ryu, where do you think you are? Like, we are in hell, Ryu. No. So, little buddy, yeah. Alright, so, Fiend Genshin, which is the official name of this version of Genshin, he essentially is Genshin, but with a lot more moves. And also one big buff to him, which is the fact that regular Genshin, you could Izuna drop him. This Genshin does not get launched. There, I'm doing the uppercut multiple times. He just does not get launched, which means you can't Izuna drop him. He can use his Underworld drop against you. Which, you know what? Let's see if he will just do it just... Rude, yeah. Alright, let's see. Come on. Just kind of waiting for him to actually do the... Oh. Come on. No, that's not a combo. Just trying to identify the actual combo that leads to his Underworld drop. Oh, well, that's his ultimate technique, so at least there's that. Come on, I'm giving you a freebie to do the Underworld drop, buddy. Okay, no. If I am in hero mode, I will automatically dodge that, so... There we go. There. So, yeah. We can't use the Izuna drop against him. He can use the Underworld drop against us. So, that is... rude, indeed. Now, as for how to beat him, the thing is, all of his moves, even though he has new moves, those moves have the same weaknesses, which means if you can just identify what moves are kind of mirrors to your moves, like that is clearly the Flying Swallow, that is clearly the on-landing charge attack. That attack is completely new, that's not something Ryu can do, so I guess that is something else. But yeah, each of those attacks, Ryu has a mirror to it. So as long as you just know what the weaknesses of your own moves are, just kinda use that same knowledge to attack him afterwards. do watch out. He is still able to intercept your moves, which is kind of like him countering your counter. So it is possible to... Yeah, I just did a counter attack there, and then he countered my counter. So do be careful about using counter attacks or any other quick attacks against him. Oh boy. Besides the Steel Splitter, the Ikaruga combo is still an option. Oh. Okay, no, I don't need... There. Just needed one more slash anyway.
Are you there, Dragon Ninja? All grows dark and silent. I have staked my name. I have fought with all of my being. All to forge a future for the Black Spider clan. I have no regrets. Just as you have pursued a cause greater than yourself, so too have I. Dragon Ninja, take my cursed blade.
Genshin.
Absolutely useless. I gave you the everlasting life of a fiend, yet you threw it away. Undone by your pathetic sentimentality.
Even in death, you could never understand him, Elizabeth.
Interesting how she mocked Genshin's sentimentality, which, yeah, with the old essay that I wrote about Ryu being the ninja of sentiment, kind of makes Genshin kind of like a mirror to Ryu, which kind of makes sense because all these greater fiends are like corrupted mirrors of the deities. So yeah, that makes Genshin the corrupted mirror of Ryu, in fact. Oh, question for the chat: is this kind of game you will play? Didn't we already get the question? Anyway. Okay, so here's a funny little thing about Genshin's dead body over here. You can use that as a shield, it turns out. There. Elizabeth is just not capable of hitting me as long as I'm on the other side of Genshin's body. So, even in death, Genshin can protect you? That's interesting. I don't think that's meant to happen. But yeah, I just think it's kind of funny. Like, okay, that attack can still hit you. Alright, let's be a little bit more serious. So, Genshin has given Ryu the Blade of the Archfiend, which now makes it so that the Blade of the Archfiend, which is wielded together with the true Dragon Sword, actually replaces the Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang. I have been talking about how the Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang has a free upgrade to level 4. That is essentially what Blade of the Archfiend is. Blade of the Archfiend is the level 4 upgrade to Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang, even though canonically it's a completely different sword. But yeah, let's just read this detail over here. So, the true Dragon Sword and Blade of the Archfiend wield together. When the Dragon Sword and the Blade of the Archfiend are wielded together, the enormity of their combined power is immeasurable. Although the cursed Blade of the Archfiend has been described in legend since antiquity, the circumstances of its origins are unknown. One prevailing theory suggests that the blade was forged from the molten remains of an iron meteorite that has been breathed upon by the Archfiend. When the Archfiend's evil magic that is trapped inside the sword reacts to the power of the wielder, sparks run up and down the length of the blade. The inscription of the blade's surface is written in divine characters that are incomprehensible to humans. One interpretation of its meaning reads, "Praise be the order brought forth from the very edge of chaos. The blade of the Archfiend has been passed down through generations to the most ruthless and powerful members of the Black Spider clan, and was the favorite weapon of their leader, the ninja overlord Genshin." I do want to point out that the blade of the Archfiend is forged from the remains of an iron meteorite that has been breathed upon by the Archfiend. There is a different sword in NES Ninja Gaiden 2 called the Dark Sword of Chaos, which is forged from the bones of the Archfiend. So it is kind of interesting how the Blade of the Archfiend, in a way, is kind of like a sibling sword of the Blade of the Dark Sword of Chaos. Just a little canonical thing there. As for the Blade of the Archfiend, it has the Underworld drop. Now we can't use that against Elizabeth because she's a boss. But yeah, it is a nice way to show how Ryu's respect for Genshin, despite them being enemies, still is something that is represented through the weapon that Ryu got from Genshin, which is that besides the Izuna drop, Ryu can now use Genshin's Underworld drop, which I will show in the fight after this. As for this fight in particular, last time we fought against Elizabeth, I used the True Dragon Sword. As for how to beat her with the Blade of the Archfiend, with Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang, I kept saying that... I keep losing the name of this thing. Purgatory Slash. Yeah, Purgatory Slash. I kept saying that's the boss killer move. Well, that's especially the case with the Blade of the Archfiend. So if you do get close enough to her... Oh, come on. If you do get close enough to her and she is on the ground, just keep using that. There. Come on. Ooh. If forward Y is too difficult, you can also just press X and then Y. There. Pretty much the same thing. You can always look at my controls there on what I am pressing. X, Y. X. I'm holding Y to do the Purgatory Slash. So yeah. Alright, Heart of the Crimson Blood. Gruesome item obtained by defeating Elizabeth. The heart of the Greater Fiend Elizabeth, ruler of blood. This metallic crystalline heart glistens with a luster reminiscent of fresh blood. Transformed into its current state upon Elizabeth's death, its actual substance remains a total mystery. The life energy stored within the Greater Fiend's blood dissipated with her death, but a tiny remnant is said to remain within, giving this heart its faint glow. The fact they use the word life energy is actually pretty important in the NES Ninja Gaiden 3, in fact. There's a lot of little lore connections there. Anyway, Genshin's body is still over there. So, when the fight starts, Elizabeth would generally be over there. Elizabeth would generally be over there when the fight starts. So, if you want to abuse Genshin's body to be a shield, just move over here and just try to have Genshin's body between you and Elizabeth, and that way she won't be able to hit you for a bit. So, fun little tip there, I guess. Alright, so I talked about the Underworld drop. The thing with the Underworld drop is that with the Izuna drop, it is usually a case of you doing an uppercut and then doing a bunch of slashes afterwards to then do the Izuna drop. With the Underworld drop, there are 2 combos that lead to the Underworld drop, which is pointed out with the dragon's eye there. So, first is 2 times X, then forward Y, Y, Y. So, just to show how it looks like, X, X. Okay, so it doesn't end with a Underworld drop right now. That is because, well, there's no enemy to actually Underworld drop. However, do note that one of those slashes was like an uppercut thing. There, that uppercut. I just stopped the combo right there, because if you don't hit any enemies, you will just do that last slash. If you do... Oh, no. If you do hit an enemy with this uppercut, and then press Y, that will turn into the Underworld drop. Ryu will chase after them in the air and do pull off Genshin's move. So let's see how that looks in practice. Okay, actually, no. That is one way to do the Underworld drop. There is a different one, which involves the Purgatory Slash, in fact. Yeah, do remember that Purgatory Slash is forward and Y. This one, well, if you keep pressing Y afterwards... Oh, no, come on. There. Same thing. Just ends up with that thing. So all those times when I talked about the Purgatory Slash, even though I keep forgetting the name. But yeah, I kept talking about the Purgatory Slash, but I kept talking about it as a single first slash. Now, with the Blade of the Archfiend, you can just do this and then keep pressing Y, which is actually easier to do than the Izuna drop. The only thing that makes it a little bit more difficult is the fact that you are on the ground the entire time, giving enemies more chances to still hit you during the combo. Whereas with the Izuna drop, most of the time if you are in the air, you would be safe to attack the enemy in the air. Still, let's try to show off the Underworld drop several times here. There. In fact, let's just go through this entire fight here with the Underworld drop, if possible. There we go. Oh, no. Oh, no. There, as I said, it is possible for those enemies to interrupt your combo because you are on the ground the entire time. With Izuna drop, you would usually be in the air, giving them less chances to actually interrupt your combo. At least I already pulled it off a few times. There we go. Ah. He literally interrupted me right when I was about to do it. Ah, man, come on. I do like that the main theme is playing here, just to kind of emphasize the big moment with Ryu beating Genshin, but also kind of gaining Genshin's respect and the mutual respect that comes out of it, leading to Ryu getting Genshin's Blade of the Archfiend. Oh. Alright, well, I pulled off several times.
sacrifice is inadequate. It must have more!
Alright. So we've been collecting all these hearts from the greater fiends. This is where that fakes off. Again, similar to in Ninja Gaiden Sigma, where we found the 4 statues. Well, 5 statues. The demon statue was amongst them as well. Still, that was necessary in order to keep going higher and higher in the tower, or lower and lower in the tower. It's almost upside down. Here it's to open up this big door to the final battles. And I feel like it only seems appropriate for me to do the final battles with the True Dragon Sword and the Blade of the Archfiend, considering the story.
Dragon Ninja.
You know, funnily enough, we were watching Spider-Man No Way Home, and here's this guy with a Dr. Octopus-like tentacles thing here. So, what are the odds? He will even kind of crawl around with it like Dr. Octopus would. Like right now he's floating, but he will actually kind of crawl around with it. Alright, as for how to dodge those attacks, you can just keep doing this thing that I'm doing. Just this dash, jump, dash, jump, dash, jump, dash, jump. There, that's a Dr. Octopus move right there. Alright. But the bigger danger with this guy is the fact that this guy, Dr. Die, while Shinobis fight Spider-Man, ninjas fight Doc Ock. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Alright, so the bigger problem with him is the fact that he is summoning these Van Gelfs. And these Van Gelfs have been troublesome throughout this entire game anyway. However, we do have the Blade of the Archfiend. And the Blade of the Archfiend has all the moves of Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang. One of them being, while running Y, Gale Rising Slash, which from level 2 on we can also add an additional Y attack to it. But that attack has a good chance of taking off a limb, which means you can then immediately follow up with an obliteration technique. That's a good way to quickly get rid of the Van Gelfs. Oh, come on. There we go. Sometimes I just kind of ignore the attack, but still. There you go. Oh. Come on. Just want to get rid of you. Okay. Now, with them gone, now I can just kind of properly show Dr. Octopus, I mean Dr. Die's moves here. So he has that lightning thing there. Again, just keep dash jumping. You just circle around with it. Usually that would dodge that. Which makes a good incentive to practice this way of moving, you could say. As for his combos, well, he is using 2 swords. You are using 2 swords as well if you are using the Blade of the Archfiend. However, do note how tall he is. Now, why would that be important? Well, usually all these Izuna drop combos, they would not really work because you can only do additional slashes if you actually hit someone. But again, look at how tall he is. That means that, funnily enough, you can use the Izuna drop kind of combos on him, because your uppercut will simply send you to his chest level, in fact. So, there you go. In fact, I'm not even doing the uppercut so much. I'm not even doing the uppercut so much as just jumping towards him and then doing the combo. When he is at half health, that's when more Vangels appear. But yeah, that's actually a good way to damage Dagradai. Just essentially try to Izuna drop him, even though you're not going to actually pull off the Izuna drop. But still, you're going to do the slashes that would normally lead to an Izuna drop. Okay, I did not take off a limb, but he was gonna die anyway. Ultimate technique is always an option to safely get rid of these Vangels. Oh no. Again, I'm just drip feeding myself with the healing items at this point. Alright. So yeah, having dealt with the oh, wait, there's one more here. Gotcha. Alright. Yeah, again, he is tall. Even your jump will still bring you to his chest level, meaning that you will be able to just slash him with those attacks. There we go. And that's how you can easily defeat Dagradai.
Mighty Archfiend, fearless and supreme, my flesh and blood become your sacrifice!
Oh god, I did not think being sacrificed would hurt so much. Ah! Oops for him. So yeah, this is Archfiend Vazda, which is born out of the corpse of Vigor, which means either this is a reincarnation of Vigor or it's the son of Vigor. Piccolo Jr. logic there. Oh, whoops. Okay, you can swim all the way down there. There's not really anything there. So, as much as I love Ninja Gaiden 2, it is probably, all things considered, still my favorite of all the Ninja Gaiden games, even though I do love Ninja Gaiden 4. Boy, is this a very disappointing final boss. I'm just gonna be very honest here. Like, I love the story leading up to this. I do like the idea of Archfiend Vazda. But how you're gonna fight him is so mind-numbingly boring. Alright, so, what do you do to beat him? Well, shoot a bow and arrow at his head. Run away from blood. Shoot a bow and arrow at his belly. Run away from the attack. Shoot a bow and arrow at the belly again. Run away from his projectiles. Oh, it's no longer glowing. That means you have to hit the head. Run away from his projectiles. Oh, it glows again. That means that you can hit it. Like I said, it's so mind-numbingly boring. I don't know how they dropped the ball on this. Riveting. Yeah, I don't know how they dropped the ball on this final boss, really. Like, the only real saving grace here is, well, this boss battle is going to have a second phase, and that second phase is still not like the best, but at the very least it ends with a good obliteration technique animation. So at least there's that. But yeah, the lead up to it is... Oh wow, it is so boring. But that's kind of the worst part about this. I don't even think this is the worst final boss in Ninja Gaiden. No, that unfortunately goes to Ninja Gaiden 3. So yeah, that's very unfortunate. Which is why I was so happy that Ninja Gaiden 4's final boss actually is one of my favorites, in fact. So yeah, oof. But yeah, for all of Ninja Gaiden 4's... Well, okay, I say faults. I think people are exaggerating when they are talking about the faults because they cannot accept that it is not Ryo Hayabusa's game. It is Yakumo's game. I have accepted that way before the release of the game. So by that point, I'm just fine with things. And with that in mind, I love Ninja Gaiden 4. I still prefer Ninja Gaiden 2 for several reasons. Still, I love Ninja Gaiden 4. And one of the things that makes me love it so much is because it has my most favorite boss battle in this entire franchise, really. Which contrasts so much with how in Ninja Gaiden 2, this final boss battle is so... Alright, shoot the head, shoot the belly, dodge the projectiles, shoot the belly, dodge the projectiles, shoot the belly, dodge the projectiles. Oh, it's no longer glowing, shoot the head. Dodge projectiles. Oh, it's glowing again. Shoot the belly. Shoot the belly. Oh, now we can move to the next phase. So let's just wait until he breaks this thing for us. You can just hold block and the attack won't actually hurt you. So you don't even need to really time it. I do love the concept that at the very least it makes full use of the flying bird flip. This whole thing is just a big showing off of, ooh, look how the flying bird flip is like the main way to travel up there. So at least there's that. It's just that they really could have done a lot more with this boss battle, really. Again, at the very least there is another phase coming after this, which is a bit more fun, but still nothing that impressive, really. The only impressive thing about it is the obliteration technique you will do against it. Still, shoot the head, dodge the projectiles, shoot the belly, dodge projectiles, shoot the belly, dodge projectiles, shoot the belly, dodge projectiles. Oh, it's no longer glowing. Shoot the head, dodge projectiles. It is glowing again. Shoot the belly, dodge projectiles, shoot the belly. There you go. It is funny how Ryu is sheathing a sword, even though I did not use the sword at all.
Ryu!
I do wonder if it's on purpose that they specifically made their costumes at this point kinda have the color scheme of the guy in black, the woman in white. It's almost like the bride and the groom and bride kind of thing. I wonder if that's kinda meant to be what they were going for here. He even has those white parts on his costume, which also kind of looks like a tuxedo kind of clothing thing. Oh, that was just enough blood that it needed to actually reach its final form. Yeah, I could see that. It's quite a way to get married. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so this is the actual Archfiend Vazda. So this part of the boss battle is at least a bit better. I still won't say it's that impressive though, because I have been talking about the Purgatory Slash being like the boss killer move. That's especially the case here. Just move towards him, keep using the Purgatory Slash. And if you notice he is about to do an attack, well, just dash away. And try to dash away from his grab attack there. But you can still attack his legs when he is up here. If he's flying around, you just kind of have to wait for him to either get back here or get back to the corner of this platform. There, and then just keep doing this again. Oh, no. There. He does kind of telegraph his move there, so you can just... Actually, that's a thing. My trick, usually, when I play action games, is I don't look at my character that much. The thing is, I am more so looking at the boss or the enemy themselves, because if I just make the movements of the playable character intuitive enough that I know that Ryu is going to do this move when I press X, he's going to do this move when I press Y, he's going to do this move when I do forward and Y. Just try to make that intuitive enough, and by then you don't need to look at your character anymore. Instead, just look at your boss, or the boss that you're fighting. And with that in mind, that makes it easier for me to react to when the boss does a certain animation. So let's see if he actually returns back to the corner here, so I can show it again. Of course, now he's just not going to be in the... Come on, buddy. Oh. There. So I am... Let's act like I am attacking him the entire time. But, oh, well. Now he's not even going to stay long enough here. There we go. There. There. Instead of... Let's just act like I'm attacking the entire time. I'm no longer looking at Ryu, I'm looking at Vazda. I noticed he was raising his arm there. So, as long as I know that jumping, dashing and jumping would get me far enough away from him to dodge it, I'm not looking at where Ryu is, I'm just reacting to the idea that, well, Vazda is going to attack with that hand, so just move away from that. There, I noticed his arm going up, and there you go. I did not look at Ryu, I simply looked at Vazda himself, really. So yeah, that's my little trick for people who are not as experienced in action games, to not look at your character so much as looking at the boss, and just try to make the actions of your character itself intuitive enough that you don't need to look at your character. That's my little tip there. My final little tip before I just beat Vazda. Like, I could have beaten Vazda 4 times at this point. I'm just kind of giving Vazda the time to show his animations there. Come on, buddy. Well, you can use the Fiend's Bane bow against him if you want, but it doesn't really do that much damage. You can chip damage your way through there if you want. Oh, getting too nervous to actually get back here? There we go. And here's the obliteration technique. There, at least it's a cool obliteration technique to end it on. And And we have beaten Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Well, as we are headed towards the ending over here, well, actually, this is the ending, but yeah, as we are going through the ending, you still have the time to ask questions, and I may be able to answer it either during the credits, or I might just restart a chapter just to explain things. So, yeah. Oh, look. Ryu and Irene looking at the sunset. I'm sure that's the last time we'll see that. I'm just gonna let this play for a bit.
The light of dawn drives away the darkness once again.
Okay, I think there is still... Oh, yeah. Well, what's something you feel sits as a good rule of thumb if you want to master this game? Patience. And I mean that in several ways, really. Patience as in just allow yourself to fail so that you can just learn from your failures. Yeah, that's a good tip. So that's one way to see patience. One other way to see patience is to not rush into things. Every single one of these boss battles, I kept saying, instead of immediately attacking, how about you try studying the boss first? So have the patience to not go attack, attack, attack. Instead, learn the patterns. Learn how all these enemies are attacking, and from that, learn how they are open to be attacked. So with that in mind, just try to allow yourself to die, I guess. That's kind of the thing. I don't think I've died that many times throughout this whole thing, and usually if I did die, that's usually just me showing something or just testing something, I guess. But the thing with hero mode is that hero mode kind of prevents you to die a lot of times. If you do die by hero mode, that is because you actually let hero mode run out because you took that long. But I think personally, the best way to learn this game, if hero mode is easy enough for you, I would actually recommend playing it on normal difficulty. Why? Because on normal difficulty, you actually get the proper consequences of having your health be that low. And then you will be more alert to actually learn all the moves of the enemies. By then, again, I kept talking about, during the Archfiend Vazda, I kept talking about, don't look at the character, look at the boss. Look at the enemy you are fighting. Because the best case scenario would be that the fighting becomes so intuitive to you that you no longer need to look at Ryu. You are looking at the enemies instead. Because you have no control over what the enemy is going to do. But you can, at the very least, anticipate that that enemy is going to do this move, or is going to do that move. And you can now recognize those moves. And thus, instead of thinking about, oh, where is Ryu positioned right now? What animation is Ryu doing right now? Instead of thinking about all that, just have it be intuitive that if you jump this direction, there you go. You are going to be out of the way of that enemy doing this attack. Just make it so that you don't have to think about the position of your character anymore and just be intuitive by what the enemy is doing. That's kind of my point about patience, really. Just have the patience, just learn. Don't just attack everything blindly. Just have the patience to fail and learn from those failures. That's my rule of thumb on mastering this game, really. I hope that's a good answer there. I do love this credit sequence. I actually prefer that of the original Xbox Ninja Gaiden 2, which actually shows off all the weapons and all that. But I still love this one, just for the simplicity of it. Plus, I just love this whole environment, this graves of the Black Spider Ninjas.
Darkness is destined to lift in the end. I still have much left to do.
I love that line so much. Darkness is destined to lift in the end. Also, final little cameo of Kasumi here. Did I not have the... Oh, that's fascinating. I guess I haven't had the achievement for playing hero difficulty all this time. Well, there you go. I have the achievement of playing hero difficulty. Oh boy, that is... Oh, well, there you go. I guess that's what I get for always playing on the other difficulties. Well, there you go. Oh, congrats. Yeah. Alright. So, again, if there's still any final questions, I might just... Let's see, what's a best spot to just test out stuff? Yeah, I like chapter 14, so yeah. So I'm just gonna go around to a certain area that I think is a good spot to... There. So yeah, if there's still any other questions, I can just still answer them. Now we have beaten the game. But I might as well just kind of show in practice here. I am not looking at Ryu most of the time when I am fighting against all these enemies. I'm trying to kind of find the vulnerable one inside all this crowd. And once I do find that, I just try to dodge towards them, which means I will look at Ryu for a little bit, I guess. But still, this is why Izuna Drop is usually a good option, because then you kind of take out one enemy at a time, which is usually a good way to do that. What is your recommendations on moves to practice to improve a person's skills in the game? Well, I kept talking about the Izuna Drop, so that's still one of the most reliable moves to learn. But with almost all weapons, let's see, almost all weapons have the thing at the top there. It's called Tiger's Roar with True Dragon Sword, but XXY. So with Dragon Sword, it is there. That slash at the end has a really good chance of getting rid of a limb, and that is still always very useful, because then you can just do an obliteration technique after that. That is relatively consistent with almost all weapons. So XXY, oh, XXY, there. Still has a good chance to, well, in this case, decapitate even. Animus Fang, XXY, there. And just to point out, this is not hero mode anymore. I just quickly did Acolyte just to show these moves, but Acolyte is normal difficulty, in fact. Alright, Tonfa, XXY. There we go. There. And again, if you need like a little reminder of what buttons I'm using, XXY. So that's the Tonfas, Eclipse Scythe, XXY. It's a consistent thing in all of these move lists that if you want to master this game, the basics is usually to not keep using the regular X combos, which usually are pretty useful on its own. But most of the time, the final X attack of that combo would be relatively slow and not as strong as the Y attack would be after XXY. Like, here's the X combo completely on its own for Tonfa. Here's that of the Enemies Fang, which still is pretty cool. It looks like that one of the Dabilaro of Ninja Gaiden Sigma. Goron Flail is this entire thing, which is a very long combo, which is cool looking. But usually you kind of want to have like a short and strong combo, which is X, X, Y. There. Same with True Dragon Sword. The X combo is this whole thing that ends with this uppercut here. But XXY, that's just this. And you kind of want that instead, because that last slash has such a good chance to get rid of a limb. Flip side. Here's the X combo, and here's XXY. Play Archfiend. This is the complete X combo. And here's XXY. Sarigama. Here's the full X combo. Here's XXY. Falcon Talons. And now XXY. Lunar Staff. And now XXY. That's just a little consistent thing in terms of all these combos. Just try to learn to press XXY as a good, reliable combo. I have been using it a lot of times when I am facing a boss. Granted, what I'm using is the Ikaruga combo, which is XXY and then forward Y, in fact. So XXY, still XXY is part of it. Still, as for the most useful move, it's still probably the Izuna drop, really. Granted, I can't use Izuna drop against these bosses. With bosses, the Ikaruga combo is still an option, this one. It does a lot of damage, but with the True Dragon Sword in particular, the True Dragon Sword gives us... Where's the thing? There, Steel Splitter. XXX, Y. So, oh. Which ends with a slash that has that sidestep as well. That sidestep sometimes actually dodges their attacks, so that you can just continue with the combo afterwards, like that. So that's just a different number of X's before you press Y. There, I just casually beat this boss here, just to show that. Still, Izuna drop is still probably the one that's best to actually properly practice. For the Dragon Sword, it is 3 slashes in the air and then Y. There. For the Goron Flail, that's the same case. 1, 2, 3. Enemies Fang, that's 2 slashes in the air. Oh. There. 2 slashes in the air. Tonfa, that's 3 slashes. 3 slashes usually is the default, really. Eclipse Sight does not have an Izuna drop. Instead, it has the River Styx drop, which I just failed at. Hold on. Ah, dang. Ah, no. I just failed at it. Oh, well. But River Styx is... Oh, hey. Another chance. Okay. Let's just check how you're supposed to do that. River Styx drop. I guess that's also a way to do it. Okay, so... Now, okay. Let's just do it the way I am used to. So, hitting clouds... Okay, so... During hitting clouds, XY. Okay. Okay. Come on. There. That's the River Styx drop, so... That is how Eclipse Scythe has its own Izuna drop. Blade Archfiend, that is yet again 3 slashes. Oh, dang. And now I did it too early, in fact. I think... Okay, let's see. So with Enma's Fang, that is 2 slashes. And with Lunar Staff, it's 2 slashes. So I guess most of the time it's 3 slashes. It's specifically Lunar Staff and Enma's Fang that has a different amount of slashes. You can always just look at the combo list as a reference of how you're supposed to do a certain combo. Another thing that's always useful to learn is the Flying Swallow, which I have already explained in Ninja Gaiden Sigma. You don't have to always jump forward and then press Y. You can always just use the Wind Run, which is pressing X and A. And in that case, you don't need to think about whether you are jumping towards an enemy anymore. You are jumping towards an enemy with it. So then just all you need to do is just press Y, really. So there you go. Again, the best thing to do when practicing these games is to no longer think about the moves, to make them intuitive instead. So I am not thinking of, oh, okay, let's jump towards an enemy and then press Y. I'm not thinking that anymore. I'm just saying I'm going to do Flying Swallow, which is, there you go. Just try to keep playing until, or try to keep practicing to the point that you no longer have to think about moves. Just do them. Which also, yet again, takes patience. You don't get to this point that easily the first time you get to this game. You will have to keep practicing in order for these things to become intuitive. That's why I am always kind of fighting myself to actually use things like the Izuna drop during these playthroughs. I'm just trying to beat this guy so I can get to the next fight that has more regular enemies to show. Oh no. There we go. Alright, so that said, if this is it in terms of questions, I will start looking for who to rate next. Although I guess I haven't actually shown the Flying Swallow against a regular enemy here. Flying Swallow, always still a good option. I'm not thinking about whether I am jumping towards an enemy and then pressing Y. I'm just doing it. I'm gonna do the Flying Swallow now. Oh, I'm doing a Flying Swallow now. Oh, I'm doing Flying Swallow now. Oh, I'm gonna do Izuna drop now. There. Just keep practicing until it no longer is something you think about. It is just something that happens naturally. That is part of the challenges of playing this game. But with the proper amount of patience, you will get there. That is my recommendation on this game. You know what, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna skip these fights, which is a good way to show that you can skip all these fights if you want. But I thought there was a good place to properly end this stream, because it is one of my favorite moments in this game. Yet again, goes to show how easy it is to actually skip these fights if you really want to, because Ryu is just that fast of a character, really, when you compare it to the enemies. Okay, just gonna beat all these enemies, just so I can have a little piece here. I might as well just show some moves here, like the ultimate technique. Actually, I wonder if they actually follow you all the way. Let's see. Still love seeing the Ninja Fortress. Has such a nice book ending thing to it. I guess there's one last question to show what people can look forward to. What do you consider your favorite part or parts of this game? Definitely this. Like, again, there's no dialogue. There's no dialogue where Ryu just goes, oh, how things have gotten to this point. Murai used to be someone I looked up to, but now look at what is left of it. No, there's no dialogue. There's simply just Ryu reaching this spot where this whole story started. And just the music giving you the emotion that you're supposed to get. Definitely my favorite part of this entire game. One of the big reasons why this chapter is my favorite chapter of this entire game. But yeah, I figured it's only fitting that Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 2 ends where Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 1 started. There you go. Where we started this entire thing. Thought it's only the most fitting place to do this. Alright, so let's see if there's anyone I can raid right now. Might as well just mention, yeah, are we gonna get Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 3 pretty soon? We'll see. Yes, thank you. Are we gonna get Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 3 pretty soon? Well, just like at the end of Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 1, I didn't immediately go to Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 2. I wanted to take a little break from Ninja Gaiden for a bit. So that's probably the case here. I don't know if I'm gonna do something in Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 2's place on Monday. Maybe I'm just gonna take a break for Mondays as a whole. Who knows? I am still kind of undecided. But we will get to Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 3. And then, somewhere down the line, we will get to Ninja Gaiden for Beginners 4. Alright, so let's see what would make sense to raid right now. Well, I do notice. Totally fine. A well-deserved break, yes. So, speaking of learning from a game, I notice iGoby Graven is playing Hollow Knight Silksong, which I think is also a good example of a game where you need the patience to actually properly learn the patterns of the enemies. I think that's a good place to go to. So yeah, iGoby Graven with who's playing Hollow Knight Silksong. So that is who we're going to raid. Alright. So, with that in mind, let's see. I'm going to end the stream as I usually do. Remember, if you strive to be better than your enemies, be better than your friends, for your friends, and be better than yourself. Take care and see ya.